Um, Unbelievable. Oh, all right. I'm on. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's sorry guys. This is I tried something new. Hold on to make sure my sound. All right. Looks like my sound is nice. I'll just check one more time. Please bear with me. Bear with me. I'm doing something new because I never streamed this early. So like literally woke up and just decided, not just decided, but literally woke up and I'm on here with y'all. So which there's no other place I'd rather be, right? All right. Okay. So so we're gonna get right into everything. Just pulling up some of my stuff. And let me let Twitter know that I'm live because you know they waiting for me. All jokes aside, this conversation is very important because well, you know, this conversation is important just not just because, but it's about the kids. That's what it was. That's what it is. It's about the kids. And so you'll see the title of my live is called, you know, that's terrible, right? Casey, you forgot what you forgot what you named the live. All right, anyway, the title of my live is called Save the Kids slash Operation Talon. And so we're gonna discuss what Operation Talon is. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Thank you for saying that because like I still have like I'm still a little tired. Anyway, but not it's all good. So anyway, all jokes aside, we have to discuss the kids, okay? And then I'll be telling you guys what Operation Talon is, the end, and then I have a bonus thing that I kind of want to talk about, which kind of still stays on the subject of children and just all this sexual what is the word? God, sexually preoccupied behavior, over sexualizing children. I mean, I never thought I would live in a society where I would see taking kids to pride events or to drag queen strip shows is like all of a sudden this welcoming um act of some sort of act of like love, you know what I'm saying, when it's anything but. And somebody, you know, I already can feel the person who's going to watch this later, who's going to, you know, the keyboard gangster, like, you just hate everything homosexual, regardless of how I feel about whatever. You shouldn't take a child to a regular strip club. Like that to me is not necessary. I know that it's not normal. We're over sexualizing children. And so at the end of the day, the message is about the kids, you know? So why don't we I just want to pull up even a verse to see what God says about protecting children. And yeah, that's important to me because not just to me, but like there has to be, what is it? What are we doing here? What are we doing about anything here? About all of our complaints. At the end of the day, um for me, I try to keep it all like in God's name, but it's like, and that keeps me grounded, which is, and I'm not pushing religion, I don't have to say that, but y'all who have kids who want to preserve anything that makes sense for your children, you know, like, isn't that what it is really about? At the end of the day, what we're like screaming about, we need to take back America and saying things like that. It's about kids because like we are set in our ways already. We know what we like and what we don't like. So they're not coming for us. They're coming for the kids. Who are they? The powerful forces. I mean, what else to call them? I don't know, but we're gonna get into all that. But hold on. And I might mess around and not find this verse on here because let's just see like what this pulls up. Okay. You see, this is let me see. because it's important to see now. Oh my God. My internet is really, no. Sharing is caring, but look at this. You asked for one, okay, all right, here we go. For he will command his angels concerning all you guard you in ways. See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. You know, this must have been Jesus' Matthew 18. Jesus talks a lot in the book of Matthew. Hebrew are not angels. See, but you know what kills me is like, fathers, do not embitter your children or they will become discouraged. There are better verses than this. And I know that sounds crazy, right? Like I seriously believe like everything is all like connected, like a rod and a reprimand impart wisdom, but a child left undisciplined disgraces its mother. That's true, but that's not what I'm looking for. The fact is, start children off the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. All right, we'll stop there. You know what I'm saying? The fact is, this verse is like, Mr. Hunter, maybe if you could just kind of help me, like, you know what I'm saying, with like, you know, something from the Bible that like says, you know, there are verses that talk about literally like protecting children, not just spare the rod, no, like protecting kids. All right, so what's bringing me to this discussion? Why don't we just go ahead and first we're gonna pull up, of course, yes, Tucker's monologue, because I was watching it last night. I wanted to come through the video. We're just gonna pull up his monologue, and I hope this one has all the pictures. Sorry, because Fox News is on some new stuff. They're not sharing some of his monologues because he's touching on some real disturbing stuff, you know. Hold on. The man's touching on some disturbing stuff, and I just it throws me off on Fox News. Like, how come you know, like y'all always replay his monologues, but there's certain ones you won't touch, and it just, I'm like, oh, here we go. All right, so let me see.
For decades now, people in Martha's Vineyard have been
unfreaking believable. Wait a minute. All right, hold on. No, that's probably my. All right, there it is. I was getting ready to talk trash. Like,
about Canada because it's long been true. It's time to think.
All right, let me make sure that it's working. Wait a minute. All right, hold on. No, that's probably my. All right, it is. Let's get ready to talk trash. All right, y'all can hear. You know, it don't be me, y'all. YouTube be like, turn off the sound. No, all right. All right. I just hope he doesn't. This is one of those where they don't show you what. Golly, yo, like, all right, we're gonna find it. We're gonna find it, y'all. Bear with me. This is a like 5:30 in the morning thing, but we're gonna find it. All right. So if anybody wants to chat about something, can, but it is what it is. I'm almost done. What was yesterday, the 19th? I hate when they do that.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. If you're used to thinking of Canada.
All right, this is the one. I found it. All right.
Canada is our slightly dorky Arctic cousin, literally the last nation on earth where the mullet is considered a legitimate haircut, the country where American fads go to die. And of course, you're used to thinking all of that about Canada because it's long been true. It's time to think again. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Canada, of all places, is a leading indicator. As the woke revolution spreads across the West, Canada is at the vanguard of it. Under Justin Trudeau, Canada has done everything to the maximum possible extent. It has criminalized political speech. It has banned self-defense.
We are going to watch the monologue, which is probably like 15 minutes, but it is worth it.
It's used the power of the state to squelch Christianity, all of it. So if you want to know what's going to happen next in the United States, it's time to look north. Canada is the ghost of our Christmas future. So with that in mind, it's worth taking a look at what is happening right now in Canada's schools, because you are certain to see all of it in your children's schools very soon. So this week, videos surfaced on the internet from a place called Trafalgar High School in Oakville, Ontario. That's right across the lake from Niagara Falls. These videos show a teacher called Stephen Hanna, who apparently has been employed at Trafalgar High for several years. Recently, Hanna decided to dress like a woman, or more precisely, as a grotesque caricature of a woman, not a real woman, but a kind of pneumatically Marilyn Monroe look-alike. As part of his costume, Hanna strapped on a pair of gigantic prosthetic breasts, each the size of a 10-pound watermelon. We're not exaggerating here. They're visible from at least 100 yards away, if not from space. We'll show you the picture. We are right now on the screen.
So pause. So you guys have probably seen this image. If you are like cleaning or making breakfast or doing whatever, this is the guy who I saw this image floating around just about everywhere. The guy who's a shop teacher, and he has these massive fake things on his chest that people will call breasts, but I don't know what that is. And he's walking around calling himself a woman. You see how disrespectful, first of all? First of all, like, this is getting to be out of, this ain't just not just getting to be out of line. This is out of line. That's not, we women, we don't look like that. We don't. That's not how we look. I don't care what, whose body is sloppy or whatever. This guy is a clown. He's dressed in clown clothes, and he's calling him this kook. I don't like calling people guy, like normalizing this. This is a kook dressed in a bunch of clown clothes and saying that he's a woman.
Screen. But here's the thing. Hanna isn't doing this in private, in his home, in restaurants and clubs. If he were, we would not be mentioning on the show because it would not be our business. Have fun, Stephen Hanna. No. Stephen Hanna is doing it in class, in front of children. As the Canadian journalist Jonathan Kay put it, Hanna has been dressing like this for a while, but only recently have students within the school gone public with this fact.
He's been doing this for a while, so I wanted to believe so bad. And shout out again to Josh Slocum, who actually made an episode about this on Disaffected Podcast. Y'all should check him out. But I was like, yo, is this guy playing around? And Josh had said it. He said it right. He was like, no. It's 2022. Everything goes, everything is okay. Nobody says, there's no basically moral code, you could say. Nothing is supposed to be wrong about this. We accept everything. Y'all need to get out of that mentality of, is this real? Is this really happening? Maybe it's a joke, because it's not a joke. This is serious. And yes, it's really happening. And even if it was a joke, right? But it's like, accept it as reality the minute you see it.
So they've been enduring this for a while. Kay also notes that Hanna's costume is based on a style of Japanese internet pornography, which translates roughly into English as exploding milk porn. So what's going on here? Well, you know exactly what's going on here. Let's stop pretending. Women may not see it right away because generally their lives are not defined by their sex drives. But if you're a man, you get it instantly.
Ew.
What is this about? It's about sex. Stephen Hanna is enlisting other people's children in his sexual fantasies.
And so already when I was watching this last night, I was like, I'm ready to come through the screen. And in this particular picture, while Tucker's talking, this guy has on, like, they show you him from the front view, and these gigantic, like, big fake breasts, they have these really huge areolas protruding from them too. Disgusting. And he's doing this around children.
That's why he's doing this in class. Having an audience of children gives Stephen Hanna a sexual charge. He's getting off on this. There's no question about it.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm going to keep cutting him off because I'm like, so what we should have heard next was, then in Canada, a bunch of people came and jumped. All right. Okay.
This is the guy in the van trying to give your sixth grader candy. This is the flasher in the park. This guy is a pervert. He should not be within 500 yards of children, period. He's a threat to children. Now, there have always been threats to children. In every society, there are people like this. And every society deals with them swiftly and very harshly, but no longer in the West. Now, people like this are not punished. They are celebrated and then protected.
So when they, just as a, I know y'all are smart and y'all know this stuff already. When Tucker Carlson says, but no longer in the West, the Western world is the new world. It's like, it's the world where we like have, new technology. We have law and order. We're not a third world country. So it's like America falls under that. Canada, Australia, the UK, just new age civilization that we're not primitive to like the way of the world. And we actually bring on new things into the culture, like that kind of thing, so
Trafalgar High School, which is public, it's funded by Canadian taxpayers, is vigorously defending his behavior and threatening anyone who notices. So is the Halton District School Board, which oversees the school. They just sent us the statement, and we're quoting. The school board recognizes the rights of the parents, staff, students, guardians, community members to equitable treatment without discrimination based upon gender identity and gender expression. Gender identity and gender expression are protected grounds under the Ontario Human Rights Code. Oh, the Human Rights Code. Really? Where are the rights of the kids? There are none. In other words, if you complain, if you're a parent who complains about Stephen Hanna enlisting your children in his sexual fantasies, you are the criminal.
There should be no kids in that school then. If they can't go do what they need to do, boom, I'm gonna leave it right there. They should, no. I know it's like, it's not easy to find somebody to watch it because we'd have just had to figure it out or something, because this is every day he comes to school like this. So now, yes, you are enlisting my child involuntarily into your sexual escapades. When I sent them there to learn how to read and write, when I sent them there, they're supposed to be in shop class learning how to make a bridge. And instead, you sitting up here getting off on my kids. I'm not sending my kid there. I blame parents too. I do. I'm sorry.
You are breaking Canadian law. For the most part, the Canadian media, the most supine media that speaks English, are siding with Stephen Hanna, the sicko. Other than the noble exceptions of Jonathan Kay, who we just quoted, and a small feminist blog called Redux, nobody is covering what Stephen Hanna is doing to kids sexually. The rest are effectively defending it. The Toronto Sun, for example, went with this headline: School board prepares for backlash over trans high school teacher. Oh, backlash. Trans high school teacher. He's protected. No, he's a freaking weirdo.
And people who call themselves in the trans, listen, before all this got so crazy, I knew people, I worked with people who were in that community, I didn't think twice about it because it wasn't being shoved down my throat. I just, like they lived a certain way. And I was just like, whatever, that's their business. That's their free will under God. You know what I'm saying? But I would be very offended by this. And I only know one trans person who comes out and talks about things like this. And that's Blair White on YouTube.
Wagging fake breasts in the face of your children because it titillates him. And if you complain about that, you're the problem. So the problem is parents, not the pervert in the classroom. It's hard to believe this is happening, but we're sad to tell you it's not just happening in Canada. You see versions of it everywhere, including in this country. And to be clear, what this is: children being used as props in the sexual fantasies of adults. Children being used as props in the sexual fantasies of adults. Are you okay with that? Is any normal person okay with that? It's completely wrong. It's utterly outside the bounds of what's acceptable. It's not a close call. And yet suddenly teachers, licensed teachers, are bragging about it on social media.
I have had multiple students come out to me, not just with their sexuality, but also with their gender identity.
I talked about
it's one of the
girl
reasons
on
I
my
think
last
it's so
vlog.
important to be out and loud and proud.
I teach my elementary school students about gender identity. Some people are girls, some are boys, some are both, some are neither.
I might tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
I'm not condoning any type of violence. I'm not. But we haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes of this thing. We're almost there. And I'm already ready to come for all these quote teachers. You won't pledge, my child's supposed to pledge to this blasphemous flag. That's how that is. To first of all, no matter what are you doing? Look at, and they are so narcissistic. They love it. And it's women. It's women. This is why women are disproportionately destroying society. Yes, because they're loud and they don't have no shame. It's like, I'm a woman. This is my voice and I get to do this and teach the kids. We have power as women and we need to use it for the right things. This is not right.
So again, if you were walking through the park with your kid.
Now, what's happening here is, for those of you who aren't looking at the screen, if you get a chance to go back later and look at it, there are going to be a number of clips where there's this with with demonic kooks dancing for kids in a sexual manner. Then the kids are going to give them money and they're going to continue to dance and the look they give the child. Okay.
Kids, and a stranger came up and started talking to them, say to your.
In this clip, they got two kooks on a stage and there's a little boy. Now they had to blur his face. Oh my God, his mother is in the crowd somewhere and he's on all fours and he's like running through the stage on all fours, like running through the stage. And while the kooks are looking at him, this is demonic. That's the feeling it evokes out of me. You could find another word for it, but it is demonic.
Your 5th grader, your 5-year-old, or even your 14-year-old about sex, what would you do? Well, you would call the police, of course. That's not.
And then the kooks are like jumping up and laughing and dancing, and they pointing like, yeah. Oh God.
Allowed. It's a crime because they're children. But teachers are allowed to do it and then to brag about it. And it's not stopping with classroom instruction. All over the country, adults are forcing children to attend drag shows. Watch. To be clear, as if it's not clear,
man,
somehow we're in such a haze that it isn't clear to a lot of people.
They took it off. It is a lot to have on. And I think that I probably should just not show you everything because what you end up seeing is like, it is so sad. Like it's kids in the crowd, then the sick half-dressed kook demon will go, yes, I have these names for them. What am I supposed to do? Oh, let me try to tread lightly. They're not treading lightly. Anyway, they go, the baby will give them the money and then they'll look at the child in a lustful manner. And then they take the money and then they start dancing and gyrating for the baby. But I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at them, but I'm not as mad at them as I'm mad at the parents who brought them there.
These are sexual fantasies playing out in public. And on one hand, we've all sort of agreed that's fine, go do your thing. But you are not allowed to bring children into your sexual fantasies because that's a species of child molestation. You can be fully clothed when it happens. It doesn't make it any less abusive or any less immoral. They're children. Keep children away from your sex life, comma, sicko. There was never any question about that. But now there is. And it's a bit of a tip-off that the same people conducting it are now trying to tell you that you can't use the word pedophile. Wonder why. Watch this.
Want to talk about minor attracted persons because they are probably the most vilified population of folks in our culture. You may have noticed that I'm using the term minor attracted persons, sometimes abbreviated to MAPS, instead of the more commonly used term pedophile.
MAP advocacy groups like Before You Act
this is a woman too.
Have advocated for use of the term MAP. They've advocated for it primarily because it's less stigmatizing than other terms like pedophile. A lot of people, when they hear the term pedophile, they automatically assume that it means a sex offender. And that isn't true, and it leads to a lot of misconceptions about attractions toward minors.
That last clip was from the Protesia Foundation, which you think federal law enforcement are taking a very close look at, and its donors. Child molestation is a crime for a reason. It destroys people. You can't use children as sexual objects. Now, the first woman you heard from, Alan Walker, worked at Old Dominion University in Virginia. She was fired after the video came out. But shortly after, Johns Hopkins hired her as a postdoc. So she got promoted. She was rewarded.
We're going to talk about how this is built into the systems now. Like, the lady gets fired, but an even bigger school hires her. And I'm supposed to be some sort of conspiracy theorist if I think that mad corporations are involved with this.
For making excuses for child molestation? And it's not just academics. You see book publishers aggressively trying to sexualize children. Have you taken a look at young adult books recently? Most are just stupid, some are flat out pornographic. In Fairfax, Virginia last year, a mother informed her school board that 2 books in the school's library, one called Genderqueer, another called Lawn Boy, written for 7th graders, contained material that you don't need to be a prude to think, wow, this is not, something's going on here. According to ABC News, the book Genderqueer, quote, contains explicit illustrations of oral sex and masturbation. The novel Lawn Boy contains graphic depictions of sex between men and children. So why are they pushing this on kids? Well, of course, to prime them for sexual exploitation. And anyone who said that's a puritanical take on this, you're being hysterical, get real. Get real. What's the point of pushing pornography on children except to sexualize them and take advantage of them? And they're telling us it's not really child molestation? By the way, everyone in charge seems to be fully behind this. Oh, it's so dark. And then, of course, there's the medical angle. At Boston Children's Hospital, they're cutting the breasts off of healthy children. According to a paper published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine, Boston's Children's Hospital did, we're quoting, 177 gender-affirming double mastectomy surgeries in recent years. Roughly half of them were on girls, 15 to 18. Similar gender-affirming treatments, specifically chemical castration, were offered for many years in Britain. We're not the first to do this, at their infamous Tavistock Child Identity Clinic. Now, Britain's government just announced it is closing Tavistock. Why? Because they've been sued by more than 1,000 families who allege that, quote, children and young adolescents were rushed into treatment and therefore, quote, suffered life-changing and in some cases irreversible effects.
People don't want to talk about it. They make it seem like, yeah, that's going to be perfectly fine to have this big deal major surgery, to mutilate the child, to cut off things, to sacrifice. That's bringing a sacrifice to this is like, it's sacrificial when you cutting off stuff and then you're remembering things and using the colon as a penis. Yes.
They should have known that. The data have been out for a long time, but people with a sexual agenda, not a political agenda, a sexual agenda, have pushed so hard to make this legal and then fashionable that we've ignored it. But the numbers have been there. In 2011, researchers in Sweden released results of a study that lasted 3 decades. That study found that people who underwent, quote, gender-affirming surgery were 19 times more likely to kill themselves than people who hadn't, the general population. So instead of covering all this, that's not a story, really? Sexualizing children, mutilating their genitals because you get off on it? Our media is not covering this at all. They're encouraging it, and they're hiding the reality behind euphemisms. They're referring to castration as, quote, gender-affirming care. Castration of children.
Gender-affirming mental and medical care for minors.
Often provide gender-affirming care to transgender people.
And gender-affirming care.
Seeking to ban gender-affirming medical care for transgender youth.
Efforts to restrict access to gender-affirming care.
Life-saving gender-affirming care for transgender people.
No, she was
life-saving gender-affirming care. Really, can you slow down a little bit and tell me what exactly that entails? Can you be a lot more specific? Can you bring pictures in? Show me what it looks like. Can you do that? What exactly are teachers talking to my kids about? What's a human sexuality lecture look like in my 6th graders class? Why don't you tell me? Speak slowly so I can take notes. The reality of all this behind the euphemism is horrifying. It's sexualizing children. And they go completely hysterical when you point that out because it's true. And the real question is, why is everyone else putting up with this? In a healthy country with an intact social fabric, neighborhood dads would mete out instant justice to anyone who even thought about sexualizing their kids. And if you doubt that, go ahead and try it in Bulgaria or South Africa or the Solomon Islands. Good luck. Let us know how that ends if you can still speak. People won't put up with it because the instinct to protect your children is the deepest of all human instincts, and it has to be.
And seriously, it is an instinct because I don't, just a little personal about me. I don't have children yet. I don't. Of course, I want kids. I don't have children yet. But I instantly want to do something. Like it enrages you to see this kind of stuff. And then this, quote, gender affirming castration, this gender affirming mutilation, this gender affirming sacrificial ritual. I'm just going to start calling stuff out for what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to start calling stuff out for what it is. Shout out to my brother Broken Traditions who is watching. What's up? I'm mad early, right before work, but oh boy, I'm trying something new. I needed to talk about this, okay, so let's get Tucker. He's almost done because he's hits on a couple more points, and then we're gonna get on to Operation Talon and stuff.
Of course, it has to be. But it's been all but eliminated in the West. Parents in this country and in Canada are far more passive. Why? Because they haven't recognized this phenomenon for what it is. They believe it's some kind of political movement, somehow related to the liberation struggle for trans rights, and therefore something you're not allowed to complain about or you're a bigot, and all the moms think you're bad. But it's not a liberation struggle. There is no liberation struggle. The battle for trans rights is long over. Trans people have rights. They can dress any way they like. And not only is that entirely legal, most Americans have no interest whatsoever in interfering with it at all.
Most Americans
don't care.
This is a
fundamentally
Most Americans are worried about their own life. Nobody's out here trans bashing or none of that because we got bills to pay. We have goals to meet. Nobody cares until you start doing stuff like this.
And let live country. And it always has been. That's the deal we've always had. You do your thing, I'll do mine, and we'll both leave one another alone. And the overwhelming majority of the American population still favors that. Republican, Democrat, Independent, everybody's for that. But that's not what this is at all. These are not people who want to leave you alone or your kids alone. These are weirdos getting creepy with other people's children. That's exactly what it is. Say it. Say it. That's what it is. Now, naturally, Joe Biden, who showered with his own daughter, who said her sex life was destroyed by it, is now the lead spokesman for this lunacy.
And we're committed to advancing transgender equality in the classroom, on the playing field, at work, in our military, in our housing and healthcare systems, everywhere, simply everywhere. Today, we're announcing even more steps, but there's always more work to do to end the epidemic of violence against transgender women of color and girls of color, to ensure transgender seniors.
Y'all, black folk, pay attention, okay? Stop allowing these liberal progressives to utilize you to bring in some of the sickest policies, okay? And then if you go back on my catalog, I have one where it's called, what did I say? Black women are bunkers or something. I think it's called She's Bonkers or something. And I of course we know it's not all black women, but we need to stop. Those of us who are still allowing people to say this, that of color, and then we say, oh, there's some sort of racism happening here, for trans kids. So I'm going to go fight for it and fight for trans kids of color to have gender affirming care. Stop allowing them to use you as a megaphone for this. Women, you need to stop. Women, you need to stop, period. And black women, stop letting progressives use you as a big mouthpiece for some of the sickest things in society. You have a Ketanji Brown, a Judge Ketanji, who, again, so she's a very smart woman. What is a woman? Oh, I can't tell you. But you're supposed to make decisions based on definitions.
Can age with dignity. To parents of transgender children, affirming your child's identity is one of the most powerful things you can do to keep them safe and healthy.
Oh, yeah. Tell us more about how to keep your children safe and healthy, Joe Biden, Mr. Shower with his daughter guy. Are you joking? These are sex crimes, and the people committing them should be punished. Now, try and say that out loud anywhere but on Fox News. You can't. Why can't you? Because it's true. That's why. You can't say the true things. You can claim the earth is flat and no one gets exercise. But when you start saying things like, all lives matter, or sexualizing my children is a crime, and if you keep it up, I'm going to hurt you because I'm the dad, say that, ooh, you're done. Libs of TikTok is being banned from the internet. Why? Because it showed documentary evidence of what was happening. Some people describe what was happening as grooming. We're not exactly sure what that means, but if it's sexually abusing children, yeah, that is what's happening. But the term groomer is now hate speech, says NBC News.
A couple of months ago, these people, one is Libs of TikTok, another is Matt Walsh, you have Chris Rufo, who you just mentioned. They've been villainizing and literally demonizing these doctors who treat these people for months now. And so in that time, you can just see it in their mentions. This sicko language, I've seen it a million times over, because every time they tweet about these doctors, using these doctors' faces sometimes, and all of the comments are like sickos.
Hold up. I want to read one of the headlines of this creep. I guess people were talking about this, and then they're saying that these are crazy comments that people are making. It's just radical. One of them says, satanic panic is making a comeback fueled by QAnon believers and GOP influencers. No. Satanic panic, if that's what you want to call it, is making a comeback because of the actions that we are seeing just flat out on the television, the actions that we are seeing that are being promoted by people who we used to look at as leaders and guides in the medical community or whatever, okay? And nobody's doing anything about it. Don't blame, so we're gonna cover for Satan, because and say it, just QAnon believers who believe in satanic panic. You could call me whatever.
Demonic, satanic, pedophile, groomer.
Yeah, they're being mean to doctors who castrate children, who cut the breasts off girls. Yeah. This is not only happening, it is being celebrated and aggressively defended by virtually everyone with power. Take 3 steps back. We used to say, oh, our society doesn't care about children. That's not what this is. What you're seeing is a society that hates children. You would have to hate children in order to sexualize them, because sexualizing children screws them up for life. Ask anyone to whom it's happened. Period. No one should put up with this. No parent should put up with this for 1 second, no matter what the law says. Your duty, your moral duty, is to defend your children. This is an attack on your children, and you should fight back.
Shout out to Tucker Carlson for putting that together in such a straight and assertive manner. Shout all the way out to Tucker Carlson. This is why they had to tell us quick that Tucker Carlson is racist, so we wouldn't watch his show. I know, because I fell victim to that nonsense, and we wouldn't hear the real information that's happening. This man, oh, he's just lying. No, with the footage, like how long, what does it take for it to be a fact? And shout out to Broken Traditions, who actually got fact checked on Instagram off something. Go check out Broken Traditions Instagram and see what they fact checked. And tell me again that these corporations aren't protecting some of the most demonic people out here. Okay. First of all, men, I'm praying for you to get your balls back. Those of you who lost them, get your balls back. Do not allow, I don't care how much you love that woman, do not allow her to hold your child's hand and walk them into this kind of confusion. I had to call it out for what it is. I do. We know it's not all women, because like I said, women, we have power. There are so many women you don't hear about who are fighting against this. I meet them when I go to rallies. I go to, Doug Mastriano rallies, or I go, to just appear, just Republican meetings and any kind of meeting like that's not I don't go to Democratic meetings because they're going to say that this is, some sort of inclusion and equity. So they're not going to talk against this. They're going to say you're supposed to love this. Okay. Anyway. There's a lot of women who are fighting, who are getting right to know information requests, who are fighting their school boards and everything. So women, we have power. So we know it is not all women. So let me just say that. Shout out to the women who are saying, no, not my kids, because that's the kind of lioness, like, feeling and vibe you're supposed to have as a woman when it comes to your children. But on the flip side, women are fighting for kids to be put in a very dangerous, just more than dangerous, for kids to be destroyed. For kids to be destroyed. You brought your kid to go see sexual dancing by a man who first looks at him with lust and then start dancing. What's going on? What's going on? That's not even okay in a heterosexual manner to bring a 3-year-old boy to a strip club with a woman looking at him a certain kind of way, and then look, and then nobody can get in trouble anymore. What's going on? So child abuse, like, what does it take before it's called child abuse? What does it take? Oh, when the kid finally gets in the what does it take? Men, get your balls back. Yo, don't let that female tell you that your kid is all of a sudden confused about their gender. You watch that very clear. Make sure if that's what's going on. And if that is, so what? Okay, we'll deal with it as it comes. We're not chopping off and doing none of that. We'll always love our child, and we'll give them compassionate care of listening. But we're not doing anything permanent. The child should be able to do that when the child is an adult. You don't do permanent things and start giving them pills, and these pills loop around. Nobody looks into the side effects. The trans community is killing themselves. You know, a lot of times these pills, they give them, these medications give them side effects of, like, they start hearing voices, they're aggressive. I know, I've met them, you know, and I've tried to help them through their battles, right? A lot of them don't make it through. Look, dig this. I'm not mad at anybody who's struggling through something. I'm mad at these corporations. I'm mad at I'm mad at our administration, who will say, Joe Biden administration, who will say that they'll defend this gender affirming care. We're not calling it that. They'll defend the mutilation of your children. That's what they want to do, right? So speaking of Joe Biden, so you know, and these are sacrifices, man. These are sacrifices, you know, sacrificing the blood, cutting things off. My God, like what? So I'm supposed to believe that everybody's a good person. Everybody's a good person, that they don't feel on a spiritual level when they cut into that kid, that they don't feel on a spiritual level that they're releasing something into the forces. Come on. But so somebody will say, you're crazy. So I'm crazy for looking at it like that, right? But they're not crazy for doing it. So which brought me to my discussion on so why is it so, you know, again, shout out to Tucker Carlson, mad respect to Tucker Carlson, okay? Because what he does is like, and you notice I had to go find that, right? So like I said, usually the next day they'll have Tucker's monologue on, unless it's very serious. I don't trust Fox News. I like Tucker Carlson. Fox News was glorifying this girl who is living as a boy, a teenager, but I'm doing it in a conservative way. I said, oh my God, darn. Like, who are you? I said, they done bled into, you know what I mean? They done bled into Fox News. Fox News was at least the last holding spot for like a conservative that, you know, with mainstream type, you know, news. But then they were glorifying, like, oh, well, you know, I don't want to, you know, play in women's sports or anything, but I just want to live my life. Okay, cool. You don't need a camera to do that. Or we're going to teach you the conservative way to be a child trans. Stop glorifying it. Stop giving it a microphone unless you are criticizing it. Yes, because when it comes to kids, I don't have any parameters. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not slow walking it. I'm not holding the hand. I'm not doing none of that. Okay. So let me see, because it was I don't even care if it was a plan. All right. Oh yeah. So after this happened, so then I went off like, and was like, I was like, yo, Tucker's monologue tonight is making me want to fight somebody. Like, and this lady, she put something. There we go. People who don't want a border wall, drug cartels, sex traffickers, smugglers, MS-13 rapists, and Democrats. So we talk about border wall right now. This, which brings me to Operation Talon. I was going to take me a little bit of time to find what Operation Talon is. Huh. I know. Yeah, I'm telling you, this internet is something else. This internet is something. Okay, good. All right. President Biden revokes executive order 31. High. Love that. Let's see. So loosely, Operation Talon was it was a plan, a blueprint designed by under the Trump administration. I'm not going to say Trump sat down and made the plan. Under the Trump administration, that was catching a lot of child traffickers at the border. That's why the border was under control. But kids in cages for a little bit, and he got rid of a lot of the cages. But those cages too, they were built by Obama. There was an influx coming through the border after Obama left, and then Trump got it down to a very, people are gonna make it in, right? But 30,000 a year, 2 million, 3 million, those numbers are unprecedented, even by the standards of even a Bill Clinton or a Obama. Okay, so anyway, while he was doing that, it was it was no, this isn't it. No, I'm not even messing with these people. I'm not, because let's just, let's just call it what it is. Yeah, there we go. Operation Talon. This is from February 11th. Law enforcement today. Biden's America multi-state ICE raid to arrest illegal alien sex offenders canceled at last minute. Operation Talon was set to arrest convicted illegal alien sex offenders. It was planned at the end of Trump's term. It was canceled at the last minute, protecting dangerous criminals. We are watching the rapid destruction of law and order in America. That this was written in 2021. And somebody would say, oh, they're being hyperbolic, but tell me that that's not happening now. Tell me that that's not happening now. So hold on. So let's just go look at because first we're gonna look at somebody named Buchanan, who was going off that. Let's just see what he had to say. Congressman Buchanan, Vern Buchanan, representing Florida. Buchanan blast decision to cancel program targeting sex offenders. This was February 23, 2021. Congressman, so that man had just became president in January, and then he remembered that this thing was happening. Congressman Vern Buchanan demanded answers today from the Biden administration on why it canceled a federal operation that targeted sex predators in the country illegally. Who cancels that? Because I don't like Donald Trump, I'm going to cancel? No, it's bigger than that. Buchanan, the national leader in the fight to protect exploited children and women, sent a letter to the Secretary of Homeland Security and Director of ICE asking why Operation Talon was canceled just weeks after it was launched by the Trump administration. He said the operation should be reinstated immediately, and any illegal immigrant with a criminal record of assault against women or children should be prosecuted or deported. Canceling this program makes absolutely no sense and sends the wrong message, said Buchanan, co-chair of Florida congressional delegation. If you are in this country illegally and you have a history of sex convictions, you should be a high priority for our law enforcement agencies. All right, so America should not be viewed as a sanctuary country to these criminals, and that's what it becomes. It's like, oh shoot, they got rid of the program, the thing that they just started. Homeboy came and he got rid of it, and he opened those borders wide open. You know what I'm saying? Wide open. Let's just read real quick the letter. Dear Secretary Mayorkas and Acting Director Johnson, I am writing you to urge you to reconsider your recent decision to terminate Operation Talon, a federal operation intended to target and remove convicted sex offenders who are living in the country legally. With sex crimes, including human trafficking, continuing to rise in the U.S., now is clearly not the time to thwart efforts intended to remove these dangerous predators from our country. Canceling this program makes absolutely no sense and sends the wrong message. It's unclear whether cancellation of Operation Talon was intentional or collateral damage in your softening of immigration enforcement, and it wasn't, and it was softened. But regardless, the program needs to be reinstated. Yeah. According to data collected between October 14 and May 2018, ICE officials arrested nearly 20,000 illegal immigrants previously convicted in sex-related crimes, including sexual assault and child molestation. Operation Talon was explicitly designed to tackle this growing problem and deport these dangerous predators. If you are in this country illegally and have a history of sex emission, you should be high priority for our law enforcement agencies. And that's just simply a fact. So let's, and then we're gonna look at one more thing, because, you know, it's like, fact check, brothers, fact check. Fact check, decision to postpone Operation Talon was made by ICE and not by, okay, that's not true. It was made by the Biden administration. He wrote an executive order, he killed it. Like, why is this always something that you guys, God, they just cover up for this man. They cover up for him in the most sickest ways. Because now we're talking about kids. Not everything is supposed to be made funny, and not the president. Some posts call him Pedro, whatever. QAnon, they always bring up QAnon. Many of the posts, I don't care. Earlier this month, blah, 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 a senior ICE official reported told the Post that Biden administration had nothing to do with the decision. Oh, well, they told us. Somebody told us that it wasn't him and that it was us. An official from DHS told us it wasn't. I remember when this happened, because when it happened, I was distraught. I was like, what is getting ready to happen? And then there started being an influx at the border. And all I could tell you is that when I was at Doug Mastriano's rally on Thursday, he said it was, you know, we get buses here in Pennsylvania, just so you know, Joe Biden sends them at nighttime, and it was full of kids. So I'm going to say the thing that nobody else will say. What's this, child trafficking? Like, what's going on? Where do these kids go? I shudder to think, right? And I remember, like, now, you know, there was this other thing that happened back in the day. We're coming to the end, guys. And you were an absolute, you were whoa, I gotta be careful. Yeah, this thing was like, hold on. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if it's gonna work. But if you believe, yep. If you believe this, if you see what Pizzagate, conspiracy, alt-right conspiracy theories, obsess over comment. Pizzagate conspiracy theory. Pizzagate conspiracy. Excuse me. Pizzagate conspiracy. Anatomy of fake news. Saga of Pizzagate, the fake story. Fake for fake. Oh, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones apologized for, no, I'm sure he didn't. Pizzagate. The age of Donald Trump and Pizzagate. Fake news beyond case. Fired at Pizzagate shop. Reignites conspiracy theories. So it was all supposed to be fake news. So what Pizzagate, somebody put me onto this thing and they were like, yo, you need to look up Pizzagate on YouTube. And I was like, why, what is that? And they were like, yo, they were talking about, like, basically how these days they bring kids throughout this celebrity, these high powered people and children. And you know what? Then that's all I'll say about it. That's all I'll say about it. But there's certain symbols when you see them and they're supposed to mean certain things, you know, but, oh, she's the conspiracy. What is it? Okay, well, guess what? Then we're not going to call it Pizzagate no more. We're going to call it gender affirming care, right? Can't you see that all the conspiracies, they come and they get in your face wide open and you're supposed to accept it. And if you don't accept it, you already don't have any kind of, you're looked upon as if you don't have any kind of standing in anything you say. If you don't accept it, as normal, you are automatically, like I said, looked at as a liar, as without a person without integrity. Like, are you kidding me? This is not normal. Okay, so that's not Pizzagate. Fine, forget it. But something was brewing and something is showing itself. You think all of this mutilation of children, all this kooks dancing for kids, what you thought? One day they just decided like, all right, today's the day we just want to do the stuff. Things have to start at a very low level and then manifest themselves when they start showing themselves. Absolutely unfreaking believable. I don't know if I'm like, I don't know, man, because, a lot of this stuff, man, like, you see, Pizzagate isn't going away. It's like, I know, guys. Yo, man, let me tell you. Oh, Hillary Clinton, she, even Fox News was saying that it was like fake news. All I know, the most dangerous conspiracy, nobody will touch it. It just clearly nobody will touch it. And I just have to realize nobody will touch it. And I'm not going to touch it. If I go and I start touching this stuff, then I need to touch it. I need to touch it I need to present it in a well formatted way. I'm not going to just blindly do this. Okay. So we're going to leave it there. But we will revisit this because I have to revisit it in a way that makes sense, not in a hyperbolic, excited way, because that's the kind of attention it deserved and it didn't get. And supposedly the FBI was on it, but they weren't on it, or if they were, they done stopped being on it. Another part that they didn't say is like, well, because they had to like cut off some of that Tucker stuff. There were some parents who were getting in touch with the FBI, like, hey, what's going on? Like, there's things happening in the schools, and they were like, you need to deal with this at a local level. Yeah, because they're too busy doing other things like raiding Mike Lindell, for crying out loud. And if you don't want to, and let's talk about, so this is the type of stuff that brings on this okay behavior, right? So this is Lovely T. She's a big deal, a live stream. Like, she's been out for the longest time. I love watching her stuff, because she reports on celebrity news, but she does it with a very open eyes. She's not enamored, or she's not enamored by celebrities. She calls things out for what they are. So this is a small piece, right? But it still matters because it still speaks to what we have going on today. Okay. And what she actually is talking about is, so, okay, those of y'all who were in your 20s in the early 2000s, like myself, probably watched the Kardashians like crazy. I used to love the Kardashians, keeping up with the Kardashians. I used to think like, oh, they're so rich, but they're so much like me. Like, they're so normal. They're like me. Normalize. They're not like me. They're not like they're not like me because, there's things that's done that my family would never be involved in. Never. So anyway, everybody knows that Kim Kardashian caught her fame with a sex tape that she had with Ray J that just came out of nowhere apparently and leaked out of nowhere. So what I always thought was, I couldn't imagine that people were leaking their own sex tapes. So I was like, why would people do that? I was like 21, 22, I think 23. Anyway, I was like, why would people do that? Like, that's like weird. Like, nobody would do that. And then when they did say like Ray J leaked it out, and I was like, I don't know, I just kind of feel like he didn't leak it out. The Ray J lucky that they didn't say that today. Like, this wasn't happening today, because all the movements would have came after him. All the movements. Okay. Anyway, but that was supposed to be the story that he leaked it. I never really bought into that story, but whatever. So this was a thing. But apparently now, they coming out trying to say it again that he leaked it. And, that they brought it up again on their Hulu show. And let me tell you, I do not watch that Kardashian Hulu show, but from the little clips that I see on it, I'm like, they got a little extra just because like they trying to still stay famous and solidified or whatever. So now, she's constantly crying or whatever. Yeah, I do keep up on celebrity news. I told y'all before. Because some of the stuff they're normalizing, the kids are seeing this stuff, So they brought back up that Ray J did X, Y, Z. And Ray J was like, nope, I'm done. He pulled out the DMs. He was showing people, was like, I never did this. They leaked the tape. they leaked the tape, and they told me just to go along with it, and I was young and I went along with it. Okay, so apparently it's like they leaked that tape. So who's they? Kris Jenner, and she went on the show, and they gave her the other day that she went on some show, and they gave her a lie detector tape. Did you leak out Kim's tape? No, I didn't. Oh, you're telling the truth. And everybody's supposed to be like, oh, yay, we believe the TV lie detector test. But people do. And it's like, no, they did leak out the tape. So anyway, Lovely T, she talks about actually Candace, someone who made a comment about it. And I just want you to hear what Candace had to say. And Candace really did. She broke it down. She did break it down. So it's like we're watching.
I basically blasted them, showed the signature, show how they plotted all of this. I don't know, child, 30 years ago. Okay. They plotted this a long time ago. They were all involved. He was involved, Kim Kardashian, the mama watched the sex tape. Okay. Several times to decide what angles were best, which way looked best.
That's disgusting. And that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. That's just disgusting. People are selling their children, but all right, we're going to jump right into Candace. And again, this is Lovely T, because if I'm going to use somebody's stuff, please, go watch, shout out to her. And then, maybe you might want to watch her channel if you want to get some celebrity news and stuff. If I'm going to use somebody's stuff, I'm definitely going to talk about who I'm using and give them total props.
Just a second. Shout out to everybody in here. YouTube must have just notified y'all, because literally them numbers jumped up.
How YouTube be playing with?
There are really no words that can adequately describe how positively disgusted I am by the story and what this signifies in terms of the world that we are in today. What this really means, that a mother sat down and decided to sell her daughter's body for fame and money, and she was successful, right? But there are two things here that we need to remember. Not only did she do it, not only should we be completely disgusted by the idea that a mother, I just had a daughter, that a mother would sit down and watch various tapes of her daughter having sex with a boyfriend out of wedlock, and then say, let's sell this tape. This is the best one. You look the best in this tape. This will make you the most famous. Not only is that disgusting, but then that her plan worked. Kim Kardashian is a billionaire today. And she's, by the way, still selling sex. I now hold the opinion that Kim Kardashian is a prostitute, and I'm not going to edit this opinion. Kim Kardashian is a prostitute. Her mother is a pimp. Worse than a prostitute, Kim Kardashian is a corpse. She's a body without a soul. She is so emblematic of the society that we live in today, that if you are willing to degrade yourself, if you're willing to denigrate yourself, then our society, our American society, will give you more, right? How much are you willing to show us of your body? How much are you willing to give us of your daughter's body? That is the price of fame, and she did it. So no, it is not an exaggeration to say that Hollywood is satanic, because what could possibly be more satanic than that?
Okay.
What could possibly represent a more incestuous, if you will, relationship than a mother viewing her daughter's body, having sex, and selling it?
Whew. She went in, okay? She didn't mince her words, and kudos to Candace for just, speaking the real. First of all, like I said, in that situation, like me and Lady J talked about, to me, there's absolutely no victims in that situation.
But she goes on, she does say that there's no victims in the situation and everything, and that is true, whatever. But what I wanted y'all to see, why I shared it and talked about it, was, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist if you think that there's just, something going on in Hollywood with over-sexualizing children and maybe doing bad things to children. Yeah, a mom watched her daughter get banged out from the back. You know what I'm saying? And not to get, but this is an adult conversation. Well, no, the kids can hear it. I heard the bull, I never saw the tape. Sorry. I gotta make it a little. I heard the bull, could bang something. Okay. The moms watch the tape over and over again, like, okay, let me see it this way. Damn, he gave it to her. Like, how disgusting, right? That's just nasty. Like, I can't even continue to like, because now when you put it in perspective, it's like, ew, she was getting off on it. And oh God, I don't even want to think about what happened next. She probably was like, well, come, anywho, y'all already know, right? And so, but that was okay, right? And we didn't even question this, but we didn't know that the moms put it out, but we did, whatever. Nobody questioned this, like a little sick. But I remember that episode when she took her to the Playboy Mansion, and you know, Kim was posing nude, you know what I'm saying, with pearls and stuff. And then she didn't want to do it at first, but then Kim was Chris was like, no, you're gonna do it, honey. You're gonna be great. You're gonna be great. And then she's like, my mom really helped me. Normalize this. Normalize the hell out of this incestuous baby for real. Moms is looking at her like, you look so great, Kim. You look so great. Boobs is all like, you know what I'm saying? Mama, I could, ew, like, and I'm over here like, yeah, they're just like me. No, they're not. They're not just like you. But it worked. The stuff gets normalized, and it's like it's normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, that's my mom, but whatever. She seen me naked before, and like, yeah, she could take me to the Playboy Mansion and then pimp me out. Pimped her out. Her mom's, you know what I'm saying? Kim been, this is not a pimping move like that. She says that when she was 14, she came to her mom, was like, I'm gonna start having sex, so I need to get birth control pills. So I'm not gonna say that that's necessarily like a pimping out thing, but it's like, into like a small like line though, it's like there was a lot of comfort here. You know, I wonder how Rob Kardashian, I don't know, man, I'm getting into a lot of other stuff, but the point that I'm making is this stuff is it's now, it's just to think about it back then, now as a 39-year-old, when I was watching it in my 20s, and I'm like, yo, I never thought about the fact that the mom was really like really watching the video over and over again and just seeing the, you know what I mean, the different angles that her daughter was placed in with some guy on top of her, and she sold it. What happens here? What happens here? And Lovely T made a comment, made a perfect point. Like, they weren't poor. You know, it's one thing when you poor. She's like, poverty will mess you up. It can mess you up to make you do some crazy things. These people definitely were not poor. They were living good. They were living great. What's going on? What is going on? You know, it worked though. It worked. Is it worth it? Not to me. You sell your soul for a lot of this stuff. Protect the kids. Protect the kids. You know, people with these parents now, the new thing is, my child is a trans child. We're going to have an episode about it. We're going to have a reality TV show. And then Munchausen by proxy is now videoed, it's recorded, and it gets ratings. Munchausen by proxy has morphed into the best thing ever. It's now, nobody's ever going to like try to do anything about Munchausen by proxy, because nobody's giving their child Pine Sol anymore to say that they have leukemia and everything so that they could get attention. No, they're just going to mutilate their kids and give them gender affirming care, gender affirming mutilation, and say, you know, I have a trans kid, and then they get all the attention. They get all the attention until that's not enough, because there's so many of these kids coming out. After a while, it's like people will probably get bored with that. And then, so then what else are you going to do to the kids? Please protect and save the kids, y'all. Protect and save the kids. That's all I could say. I don't know what else to say. You're not crazy if you think something is going on. You're not crazy if you think something isn't right. You're not crazy if you look at things for what they are and you say, like, I don't know, it looks a little weird that this corporation is funding, you know, Joanne Fabric. I believe I was like, I can't go back there, because apparently I found out that they were funding some sort of trans kid something. I said, I can't go back. For that, I will boycott. You know, people be like, boycott Chick-fil-A because, you know what I mean, that's racist. You know, kids mean more to me than that. I'm dead serious. Well, I don't think I'm saying anything wrong. I would definitely, yeah, what? Oh, this Best Buy is funding what? Oh, I'm not going. I'm not saying that's happening. That's not true. But I'm saying I'm not going. Joanne Fabric funds what with children? No, I can't give them any of my money. That means I fund it now too. I didn't need no. So guys, thank you for coming. I'm about to get ready to leave for work. No, I'm not late. So thank you guys for coming so early. If whoever doesn't catch this, please, you know, catch the replays. I have to parse out. I have so much material that I need to parse out and send off to YouTube. Thank you for watching, you guys. And we're just going to end it right here, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.